At exactly 7 p.m. the city fell silent. The traffic stopped. The television went black. Even the wind seemed to disappear. Ethan stood by the kitchen window, staring at the empty street below. Then the emergency sirens screamed across the city. His phone vibrated. Emergency alert. Remain indoors. Lock all doors. Do not trust anyone showing unusual behavior. More information will follow. The message disappeared before he could read it again. A loud crash echoed from the apartment upstairs. Someone was screaming. Then another scream. Then silence. Ethan grabbed the only weapon he had, a kitchen knife. Just as he reached the front door, someone knocked. 3 soft taps. Ethan, it's me. He recognized the voice immediately. Emma. His childhood friend. He opened the door without thinking. Emma rushed inside, breathing hard. Her jacket was stained with blood. It's not mine, she said before he could ask. Outside, another siren echoed through the empty streets. Then the lights went out. For the first time in their lives, they realized they were completely alone. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. The apartment felt smaller than ever. Emma slowly took off her blood-stained jacket and placed it on the floor. It wasn't human, she said quietly. Ethan looked at her. What do you mean? She swallowed. I saw a man attack 3 people outside the subway station. He kept biting them. They didn't fight back. They just changed. Before Ethan could answer, a loud crash echoed from the apartment above. Footsteps. Running. Then a desperate scream. It ended almost instantly. Emma's breathing became uneven. Ethan tightened his grip on the knife. Another sound followed. Not footsteps. Scratching. Long, slow scratches against the ceiling. Something was crawling. Directly above them. Then, it stopped. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. The apartment felt smaller than ever. Emma slowly took off her blood-stained jacket and placed it on the floor. It wasn't human, she said quietly. Ethan looked at her. What do you mean? She swallowed. I saw a man attack 3 people outside the subway station. He kept biting them. They didn't fight back. They just changed. Before Ethan could answer, a loud crash echoed from the apartment above. Footsteps. Running. Then a desperate scream. It ended almost instantly. Emma's breathing became uneven. Ethan tightened his grip on the knife. Another sound followed. Not footsteps. Scratching. Long, slow scratches against the ceiling. Something was crawling. Directly above them. Then, it stopped. The doorknob stopped moving. Neither Ethan nor Emma breathed. Then, a calm male voice came from the other side. Apartment 12B. We know you're in there. Emma slowly shook her head. I don't know that voice. Ethan didn't answer. He was staring at the peephole. There was no one outside. The hallway was empty. The voice came again. This building has been placed under emergency quarantine. Please open the door. A loud beep followed. Then another. Ethan looked through the peephole one more time. Still nothing. Until, a small red light appeared on the ceiling of the hallway. Another. Then another. Tiny machines. Each one no larger than a coin. They floated silently through the corridor. Emma's eyes widened. Drones? One of them turned toward the apartment door. A cold mechanical voice echoed through the hallway. Life signs confirmed. Target located. At the same moment, every drone outside the apartment stopped moving. As if they had received the same command. The drones remained motionless. Then, without warning, every red light turned blue. A loud voice echoed through the hallway. Attention! This is the United States Army. The building is now under military protection. Remain inside your apartments. Do not open your doors unless instructed by authorized personnel. Ethan and Emma looked at each other. Before either of them could speak, the distant roar of helicopter blades rolled across the city. One helicopter. Then another. Within minutes, the sky was filled with military aircraft. Hope returned for the first time that night. "They're here," Emma whispered. "They'll stop this." Ethan wanted to believe her. Then the radio on the kitchen counter suddenly came to life. Gunfire. People shouting. Someone was breathing heavily. "This is Eagle 2, a soldier yelled. "We've lost the east checkpoint. They're climbing the buildings." Static swallowed the transmission. A second voice broke through. "Fall back. They're not attacking randomly. They're heading for." The signal died. Outside, another helicopter exploded into a ball of fire. Its burning wreckage disappeared behind the nearby buildings. The city fell silent once again. The silence lasted less than a minute. A low rumble rolled beneath the building. Not an explosion. Something heavier. The floor trembled. Dust drifted from the ceiling. Ethan slowly moved toward the window. Down the street, 6 armored military vehicles had formed a defensive line. Soldiers rushed into position. Machine guns pointed toward the end of the avenue. No one fired. They were waiting. Then, every radio in the apartment came alive at once. "Do not engage unless you have visual confirmation of the Alpha Hunter." The transmission was interrupted. Emma frowned. "Alpha Hunter." Before Ethan could answer, the soldiers outside opened fire. Hundreds of rounds lit up the darkness. The gunfire lasted only 5 seconds. Then, everything stopped. One by one, the soldiers lowered their rifles. They weren't dead. They were standing perfectly still. As if every one of them had received the same order. A tall figure slowly stepped out of the smoke. No one could see its face. No one fired another shot. The figure simply raised one hand. Every infected in the surrounding streets turned toward the military line. At the same time, the figure took one more step. No one moved. The soldiers stood frozen behind their vehicles, their rifles still pointed forward. Then the commander's voice burst through the radio. "Fire! Fire now!" The machine guns roared. Bullets ripped through the smoke. The mysterious figure disappeared behind a storm of steel. For a moment, it seemed to work. Then a hand emerged from the smoke. Untouched. The shooting stopped. The figure tilted its head. Every infected in the street screamed at the same time. The sound was so sharp that Ethan covered his ears. Windows shattered. Car alarms began to howl. The infected charged. Not in chaos. In perfect formation. "They're working together," Emma whispered. The military line collapsed within seconds. One armored vehicle exploded. Another flipped onto its side. The commander shouted one final order. "Retreat. Protect the civilians." Then the radio went silent. Ethan stared into the darkness. If the army can't stop them. He couldn't finish the sentence. The radio fell silent. Only the rain remained. Ethan stepped away from the window and locked it. "They're buying time," he said. Emma looked at him. "For who?" "The civilians." As if answering his question, every phone in the apartment vibrated. Emergency broadcast. Civilian evacuation point, Lincoln High School. Military escort available until 9 p.m. Travel only through marked evacuation routes. The message included a simple map. Lincoln High School. Only 3 kilometers away. Emma stared at the screen. "We can make it." Ethan wanted to agree. Then another message arrived. It contained only one sentence. "Do not use the subway." Nothing else. No explanation. Outside, several military trucks sped past the apartment building. Instead of stopping, they continued toward the city center. The soldiers weren't retreating. They were rushing toward something even worse. Ethan quietly slipped the kitchen knife into his backpack. "Pack only what you can carry." Emma nodded. Neither of them knew, walking out that front door would be the last normal decision they would ever make. Ethan zipped his backpack and took one last look around the apartment. His wallet. A flashlight. 2 bottles of water. A box of crackers. Nothing else seemed worth carrying. Emma grabbed a first aid kit from the bathroom cabinet. "We should leave now," she said. Ethan nodded. He unlocked the front door as quietly as he could. The hallway was empty. The emergency lights painted everything in a dim red glow. Apartment 12A stood open. The door hung crooked on its hinges. Deep scratch marks covered the walls. A trail of blood disappeared into the stairwell. Emma reached for Ethan's sleeve. "Listen." They froze. Someone was crying. A little girl. The sound came from inside apartment 12A. "Mom. Please wake up." Ethan looked toward the open doorway. Emma shook her head immediately. It could be a trap. The crying continued. Soft. Weak. Terrified. Ethan tightened his grip on the knife. Every instinct told him to walk away. But if there really was a child inside, he couldn't ignore it. Without another word, he slowly stepped toward the open apartment. Behind him, Emma drew a deep breath and followed. Ethan stopped just outside the doorway. The crying was clearer now. "Mom. Please." He raised a hand, signaling Emma to stay behind him. The apartment smelled of blood. Not fresh blood. Old blood. The metallic scent filled the air. The living room looked as if a storm had torn through it. A television lay face down on the floor. Broken glass covered the carpet. Pictures had fallen from the walls. One family photo caught Ethan's attention. A smiling couple. A little girl between them. The same girl whose voice echoed through the apartment. The crying came from the bedroom. Ethan took another careful step. The floor creaked beneath his feet. The crying stopped. Silence. Emma whispered, "Ethan." Before she could finish, a weak voice came from the bedroom. Is someone there?" Ethan lowered the knife slightly. "Yes. My name is Ethan. We're here to help." A small girl, no older than 7, slowly appeared in the hallway. Her face was covered in tears. She clutched a stuffed rabbit tightly against her chest. For a brief moment, Ethan felt relief. Then he noticed her hands. There was blood beneath her fingernails. A lot of blood. Emma saw it too. She quietly shook her head. The little girl looked at them with frightened eyes. "My mommy won't wake up. Can you help her?" Ethan glanced past the child. The bedroom door stood half open. A woman's arm lay motionless on the floor. There was no movement. No breathing. No sound. He swallowed hard. "I'll check." Emma grabbed his wrist. "Don't." Her voice was barely audible. "Something isn't right." The little girl suddenly smiled. It wasn't a normal smile. It appeared too quickly. Too perfectly. Then she asked, "Why are you standing so far away?" At that exact moment, a deep growl came from inside the bedroom. Not from the woman. From something else. Something still hiding in the darkness.